Salut, madame, monsieur et les autres. Bienvenue à That Eurovision podcast. Eurovision avec le certain aspect de la vie. Je m'appelle Rosie et j'ai bon aujourd'hui. As you may have noticed, I am not Rory, but I backed my GCSE French enough to try and introduce this episode. My apologies to all of our French listeners. I'm doing pretty well. Still teaching, so still exhausted from days discussing social theory and the criminal justice system with my students, but otherwise doing pretty well. And joining me?
Jazzi, not done too much today. Just been a quiet, relaxing day so far, and I'm just really looking forward to getting into this. And well done, Rosie, for that French introduction. It's way better than what I could have done.
Tim here. Nothing much happening here. Such a great day, and
wow, what a day for languages. Well done, Rosie. I have a good I got a good grade in GCSE, but in French, but that got wiped away, so I can't have done it any better. So well done.
My memory of GCSE French is doing my speaking exam, and we were supposed to be talking about films that we'd seen recently. And I remember going into my friend. I'd recently watched the film version of Rent, as in the musical. And I remember sitting down and talking to my teacher, and I was like, it's about some friends living together in New York and their relationships. And she was like, oh, so it's like Friends. And I was like, not, because I completely forgot what the word for HIV was. And I couldn't say that it's sadder than Friends. There was just the most awkward silence in the entire exam room.
Oh non, s'il vous plaît, non. Salut, c'est Rory. Je suis très bon aussi. Yeah, ouais. Yeah, my French, I usually am pretty good at French, but once I'm put on the spot and I start speaking French to people, I literally just like, un kilo de pommes, s'il vous plaît? That's all, honestly, if you just say that, that's all you need. But yes.
My French phrase is, je voudrais travailler dans une maison de passe, which means I would like to work in a brothel.
Iconic.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Although, to be fair, there's literally one about 5 minutes away from where I live, so if you want, I can put in a good word.
Thanks.
Oh dear. But yes, so in case you didn't realize from our fantastic language skills, we are going to be talking about France, another Big Five country that we haven't covered yet. And yeah, France has pretty much been in most of the Eurovisions in all of its participation. I believe there was only a couple of times when it wasn't in there, as far as I know.
It withdrew in 1974, according to the Wikipedia article that I've got up.
Oh, okay, so that's the only time that France wasn't participating. That's very interesting.
I think so?
Yeah. So that's very good then. So pretty much France has been in Eurovision pretty much every single year since the very first Eurovision all the way back in 1956. Their first entry in 1956, because there was two, was Matin Alteri with Le Temps Perdu, which means the forgotten times. And obviously we didn't really know how well it did because we only had a winner. So basically everyone got put in second place. So France has also managed to win a total of 5 times, the most recent time being in 1977 with Marie Myriam with L'Oiseau et l'Enfant. And yeah, since then, it's started to waver a little bit, especially within the 21st century. But yeah, so just to kind of get things going, like again, we'll do the same thing as we always usually do. Kick things off with a couple of our favorite French entries.
I think my favorite French entries are the ones that are quite at the beginning of this millennium, 2001, Natasha Sampé, Je ne que mon ami came forth. A really beautiful song, like, and then there's Sandro and François, El Fauditams, and then there's 2003, Louisa Baccelli, Mons et Merveilleux. Like, they're all like good female ballads, and like they're all really high quality. Some will say they all blend into like a bit of like they're all a bit samey, but like I feel like they all have like different like strengths. Like, obviously in 2003 they didn't do as well as they did the previous 2 years, and maybe it was because they'd already sent two female ballads previous to that, which had similar vibes. But yeah, so they're like some of my favorites. And then recently, I would say I also really like Amari Vasily Sognu. I think that's a beautiful song, like really, really good. And I can see why it was a big favourite to win. I know that a lot of people say his live was a little bit shaky, but I didn't really see anything wrong with it. But I guess maybe that's from somebody who maybe doesn't understand like the operatic technical aspect of things, so maybe there was stuff wrong with it that I just didn't hear. And then another one that I really like, again a really recent entry, 2017, Alma Requiem. I just think it's a really fun, good song. I do think the original is better than the revamp, and I feel the staging could have been improved on, but I still think the song is really, really good.
Definitely some good choices in there for sure.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Sonyu particularly. I think it's beautiful. And I have done a little bit of opera training, but my main singing background is theatre. But I don't think it was particularly shaky from what I remember. Admittedly, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I don't remember it being that bad. As well as that, in more recent years, Merci by Madame Monsieur. I think it's beautiful. I love the message of it. And I know I mentioned in the Georgia episode about the idea of how political is too political. And I think Merci is a deeply political song, and yet there wasn't really a huge amount of outcry about it. But I feel like the message it was trying to portray is incredibly important, and I feel like the contest would have been lesser without having that space for it to be performed. Sort of from more fun sides of things, Amir, J'ai cherché, I love how well that blends the English and the French together. I think it's probably my favourite example of that. And if you've seen the Growers and Fallers episode, Amandine Bourgeois' L'Enfer et Moi is my winner of 2013. It's so dark, it's so sexy, it's got fantastic lyrics. I love that sort of powerful feminine energy. I think it's fantastic. The other one I want to give a shout out to, because it's trash, but it's my trash. Le Fatal Picard with L'amour à la Française.
Oh my god.
It's trash, but I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's so much fun. It always puts a smile on my face. I can't not love it.
That staging is just pure fun.
Definitely. I mean, I don't really like the song, but the staging is fantastic.
Oh, I've just remembered one more I want to mention to make it sound like I don't just listen to the new Eurovisions. Old Eurovision song I like, Catherine Ferry's Un de Toi. I think it's great.
Oh, which year was that?
1976.
Oh, that's really throwing it back there, isn't it? Ooh.
I recently did a ranking of all of the second places of all time, and I discovered it then, and really, really like it. I think it's really fun. It's got a really neat, interesting sort of musical style. I really like the sort of rhythm of it, and yeah, it's a great song.
Good choice. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think because I'm just looking at the list again. But the thing is, though, I'm going to be very controversial anyways, because my ones are like towards the 21st century, because that's the ones I'm most leaning to. Like, I do watch the previous ones, but you know, it's really not for me. So I'm going to be cancelled again.
Oh god. As per.
As per usual.
Yeah.
Take a shot.
There's a few. I'd name about three or four really quickly. The first one was last year's entry, Bilal Hassani with Roa King. I really like the message on it, and the one lyric that really got to me because of tickets. I'm not rich, but I'm shining bright.
Oh, bless.
It's just literally an ode to how expensive the tickets were to Tel Aviv last year.
Oh,
it was
God.
so funny because like when we saw those prices, and so many jokes about what came out.
Insert Bilal Hassani just like pissed off pic here.
Yeah. The second one, Rosie already mentioned, Je cherche. It was the start of the change for France after years and years and years and years of just like the really bad results. And Amir did that very well, and he gave France a respectable result. Shame it could have been higher, or he wanted it to be higher, but it is what it is. Third one would be another shout out would be which one was it? Angun. Poor her. She didn't get anything from the television.
Oh, Angun.
She might not be here in like Europe. She started off in Asia, obviously, and then went to Europe, and then that's when she hit worldwide fame with like
Snow on the Sahara.
Snow on the Sahara. Yeah, but I applaud her effort, and that's some slick staging. I mean, they were Olympians, weren't they? Like the people that were like on the gymnastics team.
Were they actually Olympians?
I'm not sure. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, or they're just like
They just kind of gave off the good vibes, like as if they were.
Yeah, I mean, like what? She was wearing a Jean-Paul Gaultier. I think it was Jean-Paul Gaultier who designed her dress as well. So like, I'm just blabbering on about how much I like the staging and how much I like it. But yes, it is what it is. Fourth one that I want to say, like the fourth entry that I really want to talk about as well is 2010. Ale, 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 ale. Like literally,
Tune.
Like I was so gutted. This got a really bad result. Like
12th.
Like I would have had it as top 10. Like I still think that it was a bit underrated. Like didn't this end up like a song for like football cup or something?
I think it was like the world.
It was like
Cup
a candidate
for
for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was. It actually was used to promote the FIFA World Cup in France.
Ah.
Like 12th. I mean, respectable, but like it became a summer hit. Like it was one. Other than Satellite in 2010, that was one of the songs that I keep listening to this day. That's from France. Like, 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 and then a bam 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 bam.
Oh my god.
But and one final thing. I know I've babbled on so much. I will give one shout out because they've done so poorly in the contest. I just want to give them like a little bit of love. Twin.
Oh,
yes.
Twin.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You see,
like,
Twin. Sorry, go on.
I wanna have a mustache. Like I know I won't have, but I'll just sing a.
Aww.
I am a huge proponent of the moustaches underrated camp.
Yeah,
definitely.
But like, my
I don't
poor
think
baby
it served last place.
Yeah, that was a bit of it. But I will give them.
Right,
I will give them some love on that one.
Oh no, honestly, Twin definitely didn't deserve last place. Not when Russia's right there, but no, but
who are also twins.
Oh god, I didn't think about that. Shit. But fun fact, Twin have very much diversified their sound now, and they're a lot more in sort of grime music now and urban music, so it's completely different to Mustache. So it's kind of nice to see artistic progression, For me, I really like a lot of France's songs, but for me, they kind of really come into their own in the sort of 1990s. First off, just to give a big shout out to Marie Myriam, just anyway, because, you know, she's the current reigning French winner, so that's fantastic. And hopefully France will be able to get another win sometime soon, because that'd be fantastic. But yeah, for me, most of the songs that I really like kind of come after after 1990. So, for example, Amina, c'est la dernière qui a parlé qui a raison. Absolutely fantastic song. The fact that it tied for the win with Carola in 1991, I really think France should have won that year, because it was far more original and far more interesting than Carola was. Fight me. Yeah, I really did enjoy it. I thought a lot of the songs was really nice, and it really honoured her heritage as well, and I thought that was really nice, because Amina is originally from Tunisia. Either Tunisia or Algeria. It's North Africa for sure. Other kind of ones to go on for is, I know it's kind of a bit of an underrated one, but 1994, Nina Morato, Je suis un vrai garçon. If you've not heard of it, it's a really good song. It's kind of folk poppy, and she's basically, you know, saying, oh, some days are really hard, but, you know, you just kind of have to work through them. Another fun fact, this is also the first time really that we have some form of swearing in a Eurovision song, because they use the word putain, which is essentially the French version for fuck. So it's quite interesting, that, actually. I definitely give that one a listen to if you have never heard of it before. It's actually quite a good song. And then kind of more recent songs, I really like Où aller from 1998. Completely underrated. Can't believe it got, like, I think it came like second last or third last or something like that.
Rory, are you saying that these are more recent despite the fact that you weren't even born in 1998?
I was minus 1 year old. I was there. I mean, I don't know. I might have been there at the time. I don't know. But no, like, okay, more 21st century ones. I have to give shout outs to, you know, Amir, Alma, Madame Monsieur. I think that was a fantastic run of good songs. Angoon as well. Angoon was my number one from 2012, so of course I'm going to have a lot of love for Echo, You and I, and it's not just for the fact that, you know, the music video just had a lot of men in their underwear. I swear it's not that.
Okay.
Not
okay.
just, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then also Lisa Angèle, N'oubliez pas, that was a moment, and I think the running order definitely shafted her. I feel like if she performed a little bit later on in the running order, maybe like, you know, the golden spots, so between, you know, 17 and 22, I think she would have done so much better than what she did. And then as well as that, I have to give two special shout outs, because no one else seems to talk about them. 2008, Sébastien Tellier with Divine. And that was kind of I remember that it was a lot of there was a big drama about it, because that was the first time that there was more English in the song than there was French. And France, as we all know, is incredibly stubborn about using any other language but English. And it even got so far as to get into the French Parliament. So it's really kind of interesting. And then as well as that, I have to give one quick last shout out to Patricia Cass, Et s'il fallait le faire, 2009. For me, that is the most quintessentially French song that you could ever come across. And I love that song. I think it's so interesting, and the fact that it came 8th, I think, is ridiculous. But yeah, she should have done top 5, but, you know, again, there's a lot of memory in that, because in case you didn't realize, Patricia Cass, she normally would never sing on I think it was May the 10th, or no, sorry, May the 16th. So she would never sing on May the 16th, because that was the day that her mother died. However, she couldn't take an opportunity like Eurovision off. She couldn't say no to it, so she made the one exception for Eurovision, and she got 8th place out of it. So I think that in itself is fantastic.
And like looking at the results like around that time, that was a really good result for France.
Oh yeah, I mean they were kind of stuck at the bottom for a long time for sure. But yeah, just kind of maybe looking at sort of the run of things. Obviously, France has kind of started off doing a national selection again after sort of a good few years of kind of internal selections with varying degrees of results, more so on the bottom half of things. And then obviously with 2020 we went, so from 2018 and 2019 we had Destination Eurovision, and they had middle of the table results, and then we went back to an internal selection with Tom Lib. So do you think, and that was pretty much universally panned, so do you think maybe Eurovision...
I wouldn't say universally.
Do you want me to bring out the receipts, hun? No. But yeah, do you think that, maybe going back to an internal selection wasn't the right idea, or do you think that they should have sort of carried on with the Destination Eurovision?
I really like the Destination Eurovision format. It worked really well from them. Even though with the fact that, in 2018 and 2019, it kind of saw like it was the start of like the decrease and like of them going down the leaderboard again. But, it was an entry that was it was entries that were loved by the Eurovision fandom, and the fact that international juries and the French people had a say on it is a really big thing, because it means that, everyone's partially responsible for the entry that was selected in the first place. I mean, imagine what happened in 2019 when they were like, nope, we're not going to send Bilal, and then boom, 150 points.
Just kind of came out of nowhere.
I was so happy that 150 points came in.
See, that was quite an interesting battle that was between sort of Simone and Bilal, because obviously, like Simone was very much that sort of French chanteuse, kind of singing a sort of really emotional, dark song about, her father, and then you just had Bilal, which is like completely, like the complete antithesis to that. So it's kind of, you couldn't have gotten two more polarizing songs.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that, I think Bilal is one of the best people to have happened to the Eurovision Song Contest in years. I think he's fantastic.
Like, he lives and breathes the contest. Like, I think I saw him commenting on Conchita's winning performance.
Yeah.
On the official page. And he also, like, when he, after his performance, I think I saw him comment, say thank you for, like, the nice comments he did. Because after his performance in, like, Tel Aviv, I was really gutted he didn't do any better. But I got to, like, speak to him and just say, look, really good, your performance really great. Can't wait to see what you'll do in the future. Like, he's still out there, he's still got his fan base, still releasing new music, so kind of.
And he was in the Eurovision movie.
Yes, he was.
Yes.
So essentially, that's like his like main dream that's just kind of come true. Then all in the space of a year.
Mm-hmm. And he's younger than we are.
No need to remind us.
Don't need to remind us, Rosie.
Yeah, we know we're old.
When we're old. My favourite of Bilal's videos is the one that he did where he did little short clips of himself dancing to all of the other entries. Well, no, including Roy as well. Did a clip of him sort of miming and dancing along to all of the entries in 2019, and I get so much happiness watching that over and over again.
Oh no, I remember when he went to Ukraine and he was really happy that Maroon won, and he did like a little snippet of it on Instagram stories, and I was really gutted because Maroon and Bilal didn't see each other afterwards. Like, no.
But in the end, they didn't. But yeah. So like, what do we think of like just like the format of Destination Eurovision?
It's a good format because we get fresh music, and from the artists that we've had in the 2 editions that it did happen, we managed to see a variety of upcoming French artists to kind of like open their eyes a bit more, and our ears.
Our eyes, our ears, our mouths, our nose.
I think Destination Eurovision was really, really good, and I do think they should have gave it like a few more years to see like whether they were going to get results out of it, because they weren't getting terrible results out of it. It was more mid-table. However, I don't think Destination Eurovision was the issue, because I feel like these entries were picked to do a lot better, and then we saw the stagings of them when they got to like the final Eurovision, and some people say they were a little bit underwhelming. I was personally fine with them. But yeah, it seems to be like a little bit of a run of things with France in general, that once they get to Eurovision, the staging maybe isn't what fans expect, and maybe that's why they're not getting the televote points that fans again also think they should be getting. So maybe it's a disconnect. However, I do think Roy was an improvement on previous years, so again, I'm not really sure what happened there. But yeah, I think they should have given Destination Eurovision a more of a chance to like get working, rather than just dropping it when they came 16th.
It'll be interesting to see what they come up with next year, because they've said that they're going back to a national final format, but I don't know whether that will be bring back Destination Eurovision or whether it will be something completely different. And because I'm still relatively new to watching national final formats, I didn't really watch much of the original two seasons of it, but I'm very happy with the winners that they had for both of them, so clearly they're doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
True, yeah. I mean, yeah.
I feel like they almost have to go back to a national selection, because I don't think they could go higher without the Eiffel Tower again for the contest to get cancelled.
Oh no! Do you know what though? If they did decide to go back to an internal selection, do you know who my first port of call, my first refusal I'd give to would be you.
Oh, I can't believe he's not doing this.
Elodie Boisson.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you were saying, Rosie, they're actually going back to a national selection now next year, but it's not called Destination Eurovision. It's called Eurovision. C'est vous qui décidez. I mean, that sounds just as fun, doesn't it? Eurovision, it's you who decides.
Oh
Wow, original.
wow.
Yeah, incredibly original. No one else has ever come up with that name before, ever. But
That fills me with loads of hope.
no, I mean, let's be real. France does everything with a lot more class than the UK does, so like, it should be fine. But now, what I'd love to like ask though is, obviously, we don't want to be purporting stereotypes or anything like that on this podcast, because that's not usually what we do. But this one is kind of a bit true, with the exception of 2 years. With the exception of 2 years, every song that France has sent to Eurovision has been in French. The only exceptions were in 1996 when they sang in Breton, and 2011 when they sang purely in Corsican. So
it's pseudo-French.
There's still basically parts of French in there, but I guess it's more so of a celebration of different regions of the area. Because, you know, we still, in other years, we had Antillean Sirol, like in 1992. We also had Spanish in 2004. Obviously, we've had English in different entries as well. So, do we think that France just needs to send a song that's like completely like in English in order for it to kind of do well at the moment? Because, you know, when you look at the results in the 20th century, in the 21st century, it's not been a great run, you know.
I feel like instead of sending something in English, I feel like they need to get their message across a bit more. One of my big pet peeves with a song like Mercy is that the lyrics are so powerful and so beautiful, and the music video is so great at portraying the story of the song, but that didn't translate to stage. And I feel like if they'd found a way to bring more of those themes and ideas to the stage performance, I think the message would have gotten across more. So it's less a case of making sure it's in English, but more making sure that people understand what the song is about. I feel like their best score of the decade, Je Cherche, is so good at that, and it blends the languages so nicely. And their worst score of the decade, Moustache, which I absolutely love, was often a song that would be sort of dismissed as a joke entry, where actually it's quite a powerful commentary on capitalism and consumerism, and that's one of the reasons I like it so much. But I think that got lost in it, and therefore it didn't do very well.
I like it just got lost as like a fun dance bop entry. So like, and sometimes they do well and sometimes they don't. I mean, Moustache's case it didn't.
For me, I think they just need to work well on the song. Not necessarily mean send it fully in English. I've mentioned this previously in the podcast somewhere. I think maybe they can work the language into their advantage. Kind of like, maybe use the French as a hook. Might be difficult, but there is a way. Look at Polygonova.
Well, that's it.
Yeah. An example, you can be modern and still stay true to your culture and language.
And it's interesting you kind of say that, that it needs to kind of work it into like a hook or something, because pretty much with Bilal and Tom's, when The Best in Me got revamped, there was a lot of French in there, but the hook and the chorus was in English, so that was like the hook itself. So maybe the best thing is to kind of invert that, because that might make it a bit good. Because if we compare, for example, like Je Cherche with Roy, Je Cherche, it was upbeat, it was contemporary, it had the mixture of the two songs, of the two languages. It blended the two together so well, and it didn't feel like it was forced or anything. But compare it to, Hua or The Best in Me, it felt it was a bit more kind of forced in, and it needs to be a little bit more, again, authentic, it needs to feel like as if like the English needs to be in there, or it was meant to be there, as opposed to, sticking it in for the sake of, trying to do well at Eurovision, as well we saw with Requiem. Because Requiem was fully in French beforehand, and then they added the English, and a lot of people saw that to, downgrade the song.
I would agree with that.
I think with Requiem, it was like the transition to English and French was quite jarring, as we'd already heard the initial version, which we all think was a lot better. Requiem did pretty well at the televoters, but the juries didn't like it. So again, maybe they thought the transition was jarring as well. And maybe if they'd kept it all in French, they would have had a better jury result. Although with Requiem, I do have an issue with the staging just being a bit flat.
No, but did you know that they're French?
You would never know.
The Eiffel Tower to show you that they are French.
No. Do you know what I thought that was the Tokyo Sky Tower? Honestly, ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting just to kind of look at the different sort of styles that they've taken as well. Because in the last 10 years, we've had Afro pop, we've had kind of blues, we've had opera, we've had just bubblegum pop, we've had sort of French pop. So what do we think should be done in order to kind of get France back up to kind of Je Cherche levels of hype? Because we don't really seem to have that much hype for France anymore.
I definitely think the staging team needs an improvement upon. I do think that the last 3 years there has been a little bit of a disconnect between the staging, the song, and the performance, and maybe that's why the juries aren't loving their songs. I think with Mercy there was a disconnect, because I think Mercy is quite a well-known like phrase in like from French to English is just saying thank you, and because the staging didn't portray what the song was actually about, everyone would have just assumed they were saying thank you and not seen the deeper meaning within the song. So I definitely think a couple of backdrops would have been helpful.
I think I remember there was a correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I seem to remember there was a bit of a disagreement between France Télévisions and Madame Monsieur's record label about how they should be staging the song. And so they ultimately came to a compromise. So they kind of did both bits at once. So the first verse and the first chorus was the broadcaster, and then the second verse and then to the end of the song was the record label. And I guess that kind of shows that it was a little bit messy, I guess, than itself. I can't really remember if that was like exactly how that went down, but I do remember there was a bit of drama to do with Madame Monsieur.
Like they weren't happy with how France's vision for the staging. I know that.
Yeah.
I can't. For me, it's more of it's a trial and error. I think they need to be more brave in being more open-minded as to how they select their entry. I mean, obviously there's the national selection, so it shows that they tried to go back to internal. It really didn't work. It didn't get a positive reception towards it. So, they're going back to what they've known will, be positively received by the audiences. And it's also the fact that, it can also, make sure that the blame is not fully on them. So, if the audience had a say on it, you can say, look, we only, the jury's only selected half. The other half was with the rest of you. It's like, if you wanted another artist, you should have voted.
Yeah. And I guess that kind of, fed into the whole, Bilal versus Simone thing. They were, so adamant on having, either of those two go. It almost got to a point where, none of the other artists cared. Which is a shame, though, because, Destination Eurovision, both in 2018 and 2019, had really, really good songs. The quality was really, really good. But yeah, I think for me, a lot of it just has to come down to the staging and the presentation of the songs. Because a lot of the time, they have very high quality songs. We've seen this, especially from 2016 onwards. And even, 2010, 2012, 2013, they were strong songs. It's just the staging that let them down. So I think if they were a little bit more focused on how they want to kind of just, present the artist and present the song in a way that kind of envelops you into the song, because I feel like a lot of the time it's very empty. It's a big problem with France, is that they kind of they don't spend a lot on props. And it's not to say that money means everything, but, sometimes, more than just 3 gymnasts doing some somersaults would, be kind of nice, But yeah, I think as well, it's not as if French music isn't known worldwide. We have so many French artists as well that have been well known across just the world. Most recently, sort of Tal, Maître Gim, Christine and the Queens. All of these have had some degree of success internationally. I can see France potentially going down the road of the UK where it's if we sent our most famous singer, we still wouldn't win, Hopefully it would never get to that stage, because I feel like France is a little too proud to admit when they're wrong or something like that. But we can only hope for the best. But yeah, just to kind of also just a quick thing as well. Do remember that in 2016 up to 2019, or was it 2018, we also had a new head of delegation, as well for France, Eduardo Grassi, who kind of revitalized the contest, especially in France, because, you know, beforehand it was getting very dull and drab. Whereas this time they were like injecting a little bit of like youth into it. So maybe we should get Eduardo Grassi back in. Because honestly, I'd be okay with that. But yeah, just to kind of like kind of wrap things up, like, okay, 2 questions. If you were hosting Eurovision France, and if we do ever get to Eurovision being hosted in France, A, would you have it in English or French? And B, which iconic French monument in Paris or something else would you choose to have as the iconic backdrop for France during their spokesperson?
Ooh.
Oh.
That's a hard one.
I'd
Wait,
certainly
what was the first question again?
The first one would be, if Eurovision was being hosted in France, would you have it in French or English?
Oh, have it as both. That's a standard.
Well, yes, but I mean, for example, in 1989, when it was in Lausanne in Switzerland, they were mostly spoken French.
I mean, if the French and English rule didn't exist, I wouldn't mind it in French, just because I can understand it. But most of Europe would be going, "What on earth?" And then the commentators would be going crazy, which is basically a recipe for disaster. But I would like to see it. And for the
I would like to see them try it in French.
Yeah. And for the iconic background, you know, it wouldn't be Eurovision without the Eiffel Tower in the background. Unless they want to change, then I accept the Louvre.
Okay, the Louvre's a nice switch up.
What if the Louvre with the Eiffel Tower projected on it?
Oh God. You really wouldn't be able to figure out where it was then, would you? At all.
I personally would like to see the chaos of it all hosted in French. I'd like to see Graham Norton trying to translate everything for us. I just think it would be hilarious. But I could understand like the logistics of it. They probably would host mainly in English and then just do the French translations. But the French translations would just be a lot more smoother.
True.
And again, I don't think we could ever get rid of the Eiffel Tower.
We're all conditioned. We're all brainwashed.
I mean, France at Eurovision plus the Eiffel Tower is basically just a meme at this point.
That's very true. And if it was anything but the Eiffel Tower, then I think everyone would be like, "What?"
I think that has happened before. I don't know when, but I think wasn't like the Louvre in the background.
It was like 2015 or something. I feel like it might have been 2015 when they had it in front of the Louvre. Don't quote me on that though. I know it might have been like maybe 2014 or something like that. Yeah, for me, I'd love to see it being hosted entirely in French, just so I could like see everyone who doesn't speak French be all like, "What's he saying? What? Huh? Huh?" So I think that would be quite funny, but obviously, like logistically, when you have more countries that use English as like a common language or a lingua franca than French, then obviously maybe there needs to be a little bit more extra thing. But it's just funny just to listen to French people try and be like, "Hello and welcome to the 66 Eurovision Song Contest." You know, like it's like that's what I'm looking forward to.
Imagine how much they'd hate themselves while they do it.
Yes, because French people hate English. They wouldn't even bother learning it. Do you know? Oh my God, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see it. And then if it was me, I'd love to do maybe the Arc de Triomphe, because that's kind of quintessentially French as well. But again, if it was impossible, maybe have the Arc de Triomphe with the Eiffel Tower in the middle of that, or the Louvre in the middle of that with the Eiffel Tower on top of that. There you go. That's like
I think we've
French
just decided
overload.
we can't get rid of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, I think so. It's just impossible at this stage. But yeah, do we have any sort of like final points on La France before we finish?
Stream Bim Bam Toi.
Oh, Bim Bam Toi.
Oh
It's
my
probably
god.
the only junior Eurovision song I've ever actually cared enough about to listen to.
Oh,
More than one.
Oh no, you can't say that when
no,
fire
no.
literally exists.
I've never heard it.
Ridiculous.
You can't say that if Jamais Sans Toi is right over there.
I don't listen to junior Eurovision.
See, you need to, because some of the songs are actually pretty good.
I'll make an effort this year.
Okay.
It's literally like the how do I say this?
Oh god, here we go.
I think it could pass as a Eurovision song.
Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Yeah, like that's how highly I think of France in junior, is that their songs could have actually passed on as a Eurovision song, and they could have
They
done
are
better
really good.
and really catchy.
Okay.
Hmm.
Like they're totally different to what they sent to Eurovision as well. Because like the last two like junior Eurovision songs have been like really fun, happy-go-lucky pop songs.
Hmm.
We rarely see that being delivered in the actual adult Eurovision. I know they're kids, but like there is still happy, upbeat songs in adult Eurovision, but France never seem to send them.
Makes sense, yeah.
And it's something that they obviously really, really succeed with in junior, because I think they've had 2 top 5 results so far.
Hmm.
Well, they've only ever taken part in it about 3 times or something, so you know, it's interesting to see that the dissonance as what we were talking about in the Georgia episode, you know, between the lack of success in adult Eurovision, but the actual real success being seen at the junior contest. But yeah, do we have any other sort of final points?
Let's see what you got for 2021.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. Yeah, so alors, nous sommes arrivés au fini à cet épisode de That Eurovision podcast. Je tiens à remercier Jazzi, Rosie et Tim pour me ajouter. No, that's not the right word. I don't know. I was gonna try and do the whole outro in French, but I was like, okay, let's not do that. But yeah, I'd really like to thank Jazzi, Rosie, and Tim just for coming to France and, you know, trying to like make ourselves not completely terrible to French people, because you know how French people are. They're like to anything that's like not French. And yeah,
You've just said goodbye to our entire French listenership.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, je suis désolé. Please, you know, forgive me. But no, yes, we are. Please do continue to follow us on all of our social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at That Euro Podcast. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. So please do continue to follow us on there, so you always get notified for whenever a new episode comes out. Also, if you have any sort of opinions on what we were talking about, please do get involved on social media. We're active all the time. So yeah, in the next couple of episodes, we'll be having a few other countries in. We also have a few other surprises lined up as well, so we're really looking forward to sharing them with you. And yes, shall we all say au revoir?
Au revoir.
Au revoir.